make a tool wall just like this. It's just some shiplap. It's all oak, some pine on the bottom, very bottom. Just a. It's all oak. I had to cut the hole around the outlet a little bigger than I wanted to because I had some wires coming through, rather than having a bunch of different holes. So I just made it a little wider. Put the power strip on there. Unless you want to go with the whole wall with it, it's going to be pretty expensive. Even though this wood I got pretty good deal on. All right, I start the process of ripping this tool wall down. I'm gonna try to put up a shiplap wall. I may take this little one down too. I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely gonna take this down. Put a nice little accent wall here in the center, and put most of the tools over here. So I'm emptying the wall out now. So it's gonna be a pretty busy wall. Maybe I'll try to separate some of the stuff. All right, let's go. show you how I set the shiplap up. This is kind of like not great. This is just for the shop here. So this is all oak, this little accent wall here. Besides the bottom piece are pine and the very top piece is pine. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you an example with these thin pieces of pine, which are similar to this, which they act as like a little puzzle. Turn the light on. So I can kind of set them like that. And these are cut thin. These are just under a ½ inch. And this works fine with this cabinet router bit, which I use for like rails and stiles. Typically we also use it for stuff like this, and also great for cabinet or drawer slots for 1/4 inch and less bottoms for drawers. So I use this, but I also have this Freud rabbet bit, which is good for using thicker wood, like something like 1 inch, and you can set your height. And I can show both, but for the sake of this, I'll show you how I set my shiplap up on these pieces of pine. And I do show in the video, but this is just a little more detail. So my bit is set to the height and the depth that I want. So I'm going to, for this first cut, I'm going to leave the shop vac off so you can hear. One side. So when you have multiple pieces you're connecting, they're going to connect as so, or you might have it connecting here too. So you need to end. So that's where you use the miter. So now this one, so say this one's the bottom piece, I have to put a groove here. So I'm going to flip it upside down the other direction. So for the next ones, I'm going to do the ends. And we're going to do rabbets on the ends here. So here I'll use a little miter gauge here. These pieces are a little thicker than my typical shiplap. Like these ones, if you look, they're a little thicker. I didn't plane them all the way down, but this is just to show an example. So you see they're not totally flush in height and thickness, but this is the concept. So they fit together as like a puzzle. And really, that's all you need. Is you just need a router table, which would be good, but you can also use a trim router or a plunge router, probably better, and a good flat surface and with a nice rabbet bit. But this works fine for thinner wood under a 1/2 inch typically, which most shiplap is. But if you're going to use like thicker wood, you want a more sturdy wall or floor, then you can use a bigger rabbet bit, rabbet bit, and just follow that in. But otherwise, this is how I connect them, and they go pretty flush for the most part. And you always want to have like a little gap anyway, thickle gap. I usually use it like a straight edge or something. I'll use something like this typically, just as my gauge, so I have a little, so you can see the groove. And then you would glue or pin nail them in, brad nail them in. Alright, that's about it. So that's how I finished this wall. One of the points with showing you this also is to show you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to make shiplap or even have the equipment to do it. Now I will say this whole setup, this cobalt with the router, I think it was like $140. So that's a great deal. I've seen the shop vac or something to connect in, or it's kind of dust collection. But these bits, these cabinet bits, these Bosch, they're pretty expensive. They were like $100 for I think a set of 2. And this Freud wasn't too bad. It was like $40, $30-40. So I got a pretty good deal now on Amazon. And it's a rabbet 1/2 inch collet. But you don't have to break the bank to do this, which is the idea. So you could go get a small little router table like this, and it's honestly, this whole setup is cheaper than a nice router. Even a fixed router. Doesn't have to be a plunge router. So you could do this, on a good budget. And shiplap could cost you anywhere between, $15 a piece, depending on if it's laminated or not laminated. If it's like finished, in thickness and length, and the width too. Or I've seen up to $60 a piece. So it can get real expensive. So you could do this with scrap wood, which I essentially built this wall with old scrap oak I had. So it's not great quality, and I planed the hell out of it. So it's really thin. It's under 1/2 inch, but it works. It looks good. I like to do the whole garage with this, but it would probably be pretty expensive for that, And it's going to look crappy because it's going to be covered anyway. But I may do it. I may finish it off. That's why I left little ridges on the ends here, in case I want to add on to it, expand it, move all these tool walls out of here. All right, that's about it.